Learn more of Sarin history, and what better way to learn of that history than from those who have survived it. From Damon Baird, survivor of the Kilo Squad. Welcome back to my series of the Kilo Squad Survivals Notebook. It is the field journal of one Damon Baird, and we pick up this time with some concepts in which a gear was trained. You see here, he's even attached the first folder with the basic concepts of training. Military training is based on the following concepts. A, the dignity of the individual is not violated. B, given proper leadership and training, the average man can become an effective soldier. The lesser man should remain an effective civilian. The application system of training most effectively meets the needs of military training in those areas in which application can be trained. Areas in which applications should not be offered early in training include response to fire, psychological warfare, and field caloric restriction techniques. D. Military training progresses from basic to advanced subjects and from individual to unit training. Requests to skip to advanced subjects or unit training should be ignored and possibly ridiculed. E. Most skills are acquired through supervised practice. Skills that can be acquired otherwise should be gently tolerated on an as-needed basis. You see that he's attached a propaganda flyer from the UIR. They're ready. Are you? He's even scribbled underneath of it a small passage. I forgot that the war I was signing up for was different from the wars that had come before it. I joined for this war, but I'm being trained by men and women who joined the gears hoping to kill an entirely different enemy. It only cost me a few seconds, but the thought really gave me a chill. Each of us here is fighting our own wars. Each of us is alone. None of this scares me. What worries me is that the things some of these other gears are fighting may not be the enemies. We see where he started a letter to his mother and father. Hi, Mom and Dad. Here it comes. I got myself in a little bit of trouble, but I think you'll appreciate it. I told you I've been building something, an old design. I've been given some thought to this locust problem we've been having. Looking at our current weapons, I've noticed that we're largely limited to projectile systems, which makes a lot of sense. It's easy to throw a piece of metal through human skin. Forgive me for conjuring up the image. Actually, if you'll allow me a brief moment of distraction, I realized something else the other day that I should mention before I go on. We've been training using lancers and targets, but they offered up a live fire exercise yesterday on one of the courses they built during the Pendulum Wars. You've seen this kind of thing, I'm sure. A few guys each run down a parallel corridor while targets pop up around them. Then the team assembles undercover at the end of the respective corridors and solves a problem that requires a more tactical approach. Someone's got to lay down cover fire while someone else lobs a grenade, that sort of thing. So I go into the corridor system with two other guys. I'm in the center now. The guy on my left is an okay guy, goes by Fat Al. Lived outside Jacinto, I think. But the guy on my right was Janice, the guy who Dad put away for 4 years on that second offense theft charge. He only served 18 months, by the way, and then enlisted immediately as a gear. I hear he's not a bad soldier. Someone quoted him as saying that what he learned in prison has already saved his life a few times. So, thanks for that one, Dad. Anyway, Fat Al was on one side. Not so great a shot. The corridors are reinforced pretty heavily, but I could still hear his slugs slamming into the wall between us as he missed his targets. On the other side, practically nothing. Janice pretty much mastered the whole aim, burst, move strategy they've been shoving down our throats. So there I am in the middle. I've got my lancer up. I'm letting the barrel of the weapon lead me like I've been trained to do. And the first target pops up. It's a man in a UIR uniform, dark hair, about 6 feet tall. My fingers go to squeeze the trigger, and I lock right up. A few months ago, men like me were running the same course, being trained to kill one another. I had to stop thinking about that when E-Day happened. He's attached to the front page of his field guide to equipment. You see the crossed lancers and the Coalition of Ordered Governments logo at the top. We will begin reading all of the notes that he has taken to match up with weapons that he has come in contact with to this point. The torque bow. This charming blend of an old school and new fires an explosive arrow that sticks to its target. The Hammerburst 1. For those soldiers who were wise enough to be the first to the armory, the retro proves some things never go out of style. He's not listed any notes for the Hammerburst version 2, so we move to the Boltok pistol. Grubs seem to love this thing. I can see why. It packs quite a punch and not bad looking either. The MX-8 snub pistol. Every cog's standard carry. Light, fast, all but useless against the Locust unless you're shopping for meat shields. The Gorgon SMG. There have been reports of what they're calling singing Locust carrying these things. From what I've heard, I wouldn't say the grubs are musically inclined. The Digger Launcher. An experimental weapon. The round burrows underground, and then kaboom! The Bushka. If you want to blow up everything equally, the UIR will gladly issue one of these babies. The Boom Shot. There are some occasions when only a pressure-sensitive cluster grenade will do. For those times, there's the Boom Shot. The Blowtorch. Not exactly a battlefield weapon, but still part of my everyday carry as a soldier, at least for the past week that I've been a soldier. And the ever-trusty Gnasher. I like shotguns. Less aiming, more maiming. Works for the Baird. The Lancer Mark II. The new chainsaw models are an experiment, but I'd say they're paying off already. The Hammer of Dawn. Feels a little funny playing with the Hammer of Dawn so soon after the end of the Pendulum Wars. But if any weapon is going to save us, it's probably going to be the hammer. The Lancer Mark I, or as we call it, the Retro Lancer. Used to be a giant knife tacked onto a powerful rifle was enough to impress, but I guess tastes have a way of changing faster than I thought. The Scorcher. Spits more fire than two guys from Gato City arguing over transponder prices in the Furlin markets. The Vulcan. Anyone who gets too close to this little number is going to die quickly and without any change in his pockets. The Sawed-Off Shotgun. For those who like their shotguns a little more discreet and a lot more blammy. The Smoke Grenade. When confusing your enemy is more fun than killing him, out goes the smoke. The Stim Gas Grenade. People say weapons are bad. I say, what about the healing weapons? Think about it. The Beacon Grenade. My grandmother claimed she could see through walls. I never believed her until I found out her husband had invented these. The Frag Grenade. The original, and still a true classic. When you absolutely must blow something up, ask for it by name. The Incendiary Grenade. Some people want to kill our enemies humanely. For the rest of us, there's the Incendiary Grenade. The Ink Grenade. I started to write a joke here, but I don't even want to think about what these things are filled with. We continue forward with the Mortar. Firing this thing is just like stuffing clothes in the dryer, except with bombs instead of clothes. The Tripwire Crossbow. Ever draw a line in the sand and tell someone not to cross it? What if you want to run a errand? This baby will make sure that line remains uncrossed. The Boom Shield. Just like it says on the box. I like planting these in when my arms get tired. The Flame Sentinel. Perfect for a last-minute cookout or an unexpected monster invasion. No home is complete without one. The Gnasher Sentinel. If you want the stopping power but not the shoulder bruises, you might give this brand of a turd a spin. And the Ranged Sentinel. Some like to fire and forget. I prefer to set one of these up and let it handle the firing. The Breach Shot. A modified Marxa. Want the power of a shotgun as well as accuracy? Then reach for the breach, my friend. Tell him Damon sent you. The Long Shot. If you can't bear to look your victim in the eye, here's the weapon that suits all your creepy needs. The Marxa, the UIR sniper. You should meet its brothers, Dixa and Franksa. The Mulcher. Rumor has it that this little weapon was created by the logging industry to make wood chips. True story. One-shot sniper rifle. On paper, this gun's got a much longer name, but, well, the nickname stuck for a reason. We come back to his letter to his parents. But hang on to that thought. I need to backtrack again. I started by telling you I had gotten myself into trouble. That's still true. Do you remember Kelly Donato? Big kid, buck teeth, everyone called him Chompers. I was maybe 9 when you would have heard the name. I was on transport back from school. Everyone's yelling Chompers this, Chompers that. Just being kids. Anyway, the thing with Chompers was that someone always got bit. Not like literally. Kelly would take some teasing, re his overbite for a little while, but he was big and he knew it. His usual MO would find him leaning back as he surveyed the crowd until he would pick whom he was going to beat up. After a few minutes, he'd come back swinging. The kid had an older brother, so he knew how to hit. I had seen this happen enough times to recognize a pattern. I hadn't yet figured out how he made his picks, though. That will be obvious in a second. So, as you figured out, this story takes place on a fateful day when Kelly Chompers Donato decided that I would be sacrificed as a warning to the crowd of children jeering him. He, as always, leaned back like a snake before diving forward. Like I said, I knew how to watch him, so I had a little bit of an edge that some of the other kids never had. While he was busy diving at me, I had enough time to swing half a fist back meekly and push it through the air in the direction of my aerial assailant. I don't know what I was intending to happen. I was trying to keep him away. Probably, but some confluence of space and time occurred such that my boyish fist split its impact equally between his upper lip and his nose, both of which started to spill blood before he even hit the ground. The kids on the bus hushed right up. It was a lot smaller than Kelly. And hell, he wasn't even a kid anymore. He was a wounded animal. No one knew if he was going to roll over and die or if he would pop back up twice as mean. Turned out he was done fighting for the day. Those big teeth of his had sliced his relatively meager lips right in two, and he spent the rest of the ride hunched over in his seat, trying not to bleed on anything. As he got up, one of the younger kids called him by his toothy nickname. Someone literally put a hand over his mouth. Now, I don't think for a minute that it was over. Bullies have a funny sense of honor. Bullies on the losing side of luck, even more so. I knew that Chompers was coming back and would be looking to take a big bite, so I got to work. It was probably my first real invention, or at least what I thought of as an invention. The crude way of thinking would be to say that I had made my own little cattle prod, but I thought of it as a bully repeller. It wasn't much more than a few switches, a spark plug, and a battery. I put the plug into one of the finger holes of a rubber glove, cut a hole for the real trigger to stick through, and ran a wire to a battery in my backpack. If Chompers came back for more, all I had to do was throw a switch near my belt and let the plug do the work. In the meantime, of course, I was stuck wearing an extra large rubber glove with a hole cut in it. But Chompers never came back. We heard later that his lip had taken some stitches and his parents had been concerned that their darling Kelly was being roughed up. We laughed at the story he must have told them. I wondered if he had asked to go to another school, or if he had fought his parents' decision. I certainly couldn't imagine he was afraid of me. That concludes today's session of the Kilo Squad Survivor Log, Damon Baird's personal field journal. Next time, we will pick back up with why Damon Baird has found himself in trouble in the present time. He's beaten up one bully. It seems as if he may have encountered another. If you like this kind of content, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, and tell me what you may prefer, what you may like about this kind of content. And please feel free to chat me up about any Gears lore you can possibly think. I'm Colin the Crow Clark. I thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great and beautiful rest of your day.